Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 45 Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs for you. I have a little bit of everything in today's video, including Christmas movies, tier trays, and even a coffee bar. I want to make a giant farmhouse window with a winter scene for Christmas. Now, we don't get much cold weather here in Florida, but I want this to definitely look like frosted windows with snowflakes and all of that. So I got some of the wood 5x7 frames from the Dollar Tree, just making sure they're all the same. And I want to add them together. I started with 4, but I ended up with 6. And I think it turned out so cute. So I just pop out the back on these. I'm also popping out the glass. Then I'm going to carefully remove all of the little black staples that come down. I need to get rid of those, but I also don't want to damage the frame. My favorite thing about these frames, though, is that they are made out of actual wood. So they're really sturdy. I just go ahead and put some hot glue in there and glue the glass back in because this is going to be a window. So I definitely want to incorporate the glass, but not the staples because you'd be able to see those from the front with the clear glass. Now, being wood, these ended up a little bit heavier than I would expect with a normal Dollar Tree frame. And so I will have to make some reinforcements to this to make it stronger. But I kind of start everything with hot glue. So I'm going to hot glue this together. Now, if I were to do this again, I probably would have used wood glue for this part. I was trying to get a lot of DIYs done, though, for this video, which is why I went with hot glue. But I did have to reinforce it. I tried here at first just to reinforce it with some jumbo popsicle sticks here on the seam in the back and some more hot glue, but that was not quite strong enough. So I'll show you what I end up doing to reinforce this to make it stronger. Since these actual have glass in them, I want to make sure this does not fall apart and I don't want any glass, breaking on my floor or anything like that. So same thing with frame number 3. I just remove everything, including the staples, hot glue the glass back in, and I was trying to decide how big I wanted this farmhouse window to be, so I started with 4, but luckily I had stocked up on these frames, so I was able to up this to 6. So again, I attached that with hot glue, and I'm reinforcing on the back with popsicle sticks, but again, you might want to use a stronger glue for that for sure. And the last one of my initial set here, I do the same thing with it, and then I'm going to kind of try this out for size. I wanted a large statement piece to go next to my front door for Christmas, and I just love how this turned out. It was so much fun. So that is my 4th one. I thought that was going to be large enough, but once I get it together, I realized that I do want it to be like a 6-pane window. It just wasn't large enough. So I'm going to add 2 more like this. It's going to be like a horizontal window. And I'm also going to be adding like a little window ledge to it as well for a little bit more charm. So same thing. I just take these apart. Definitely make sure you're buying 4 or 6 of the same frame because they have 2 of these wooden ones that are kind of similar. And you want them to all be the same. And if you can get like a thinner wood, it would be a little bit more seamless there in between the different slats of the window, but I'll show you how I go about making it all more cohesive once we get this put together. And I do like the color of this wood. I am going to distress it with some white though to give it that like vintage farmhouse vibe. So that looks good. Again, I do have to reinforce it a little bit later because I didn't think it was quite strong enough. For the little ledge, I'm going to attach some wood here to the bottom like this. And I have a scrap piece of wood. I think this was maybe from an old bed that I took apart. I'm not sure, but it's pretty similar to the craft wood that you can get there at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than my window on my saw, and I think this is going to be a fun touch. I'm not going to frame like all the way around it. You could if you wanted to, but I just wanted a little bit of a detail there. Now for the distressing, I'm just using some white acrylic, and I am just going over, kind of following the direction of the boards, letting some of the wood show through, but also distressing it, trying to make it look old and kind of half painted. And I do that there on all of the sides, all 4 sides of each frame. Now, the only thing I didn't like about it at this point is you can see the gaps in between the frames. So I thought I could minimize that by using some Dollar Tree spackle. It's going to go with the white distressed look anyway, if you were able to see any of it. And if you kind of like just use your finger, you can kind of fill in those cracks between the different sections of the window, and it's just going to make it look like it's more cohesive and all one piece, which is what I was going for. And I'm really glad I decided to do that. I think it made it look a lot better. I'm going to distress it with a little bit more of the white, a little less wood, a little bit more white. And I'm also going to try to make sure to get some on the ledges because I kind of miss the little ledges that kind of bump out there on the front to give them some white distressing too. And I think that's looking pretty good. I did realize at this point, though, it wasn't as sturdy as I wanted it to be. It was kind of moving on me a little bit with the hot glue. So I'm going in with my staple gun and I'm going to staple all the frames together. Now, just make sure you're not using staples that are too long, that are going to go all the way through the frame. I used some of my shorter ones so it wouldn't go through. And then I'm also going to reinforce all of the glasses again by hot gluing another bead of hot glue along the seam, but along the back where you won't be able to see that, to make sure that none of the glass falls out. I want this to be super sturdy. If I were to do this again, I'd probably skip the popsicle sticks and use more staples that seem to work better. I'm also going to distress the little window ledge that we made out of some white as well by distressing the top, the front, and the very bottom of it. And just kind of following that up with a baby wipe, kind of giving it a little bit of a whitewash for that first coat, and then going back with a second coat of distress. So it'll have a very similar finish to the window that we DIY'd, and it'll make it all more cohesive. I'm also going to add a hanger at this step. This is some of those sawtooth hangers that you can just simply hammer in. I think I got these at Home Depot maybe. And I just hammer that in right there in the back so I have a nice strong hanger to hold my farm window. Now for the snowflakes, I wanted to use some of the white glitter snowflake ornaments from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 in a package and I think they're so pretty. I was trying to decide if I wanted them on the back of the glass, like they're outside, or if I wanted them on the front. I do end up putting them on the front just because I think they look better there. I'm also going to fill in the little ornament hanger hole on each one of them with a little bit of white spackle so you won't notice that detail. I started with 3 of them, but I do go back and add more. You'll see here at the final project. I do want to kind of scatter those out, so I'm going to glue one there, right here, and one right over here. And I'm just gluing those with hot glue onto the glass. I want it to look very wintry outside, so I also want to give it like a snow look. I got some of this like fake snow. I ended up getting this at Walmart. For some reason, I couldn't find any of this at my Dollar Trees. I know they do carry it, but I just couldn't find any. So I'm going to spray this on the back to look like a frosted window. Now, a little bit goes a long way. And the first time I sprayed it, look, there's way too much. It's like completely snowed out. But then I remembered that you can totally remove this from your glass if you put this on your windows at home. So I just wiped it all off with a paper towel. And I'm going to try again, this time with a little less. A little spray along one window and a little spray along the other window to give me a light frosting. And I did like that a lot better. This is what it looks like so far. Our little farm window. And I also want to add the little window ledge down here. I thought that would give it more of a window look. And so I'm going to again start with hot glue by hot gluing the wood frames to the ridge. I want it to be flat against the wall, just like the rest of it, so it will stick, like kind of stick out on the front a little bit. And once I got it on there, I also added another bead of hot glue right here in the front to reinforce it a little bit. And I'm going to flip it over and then reinforce it kind of like what I did with the frames. I don't want this falling off, so again, I'm just going to use my staple gun. A lot of you guys ask what staple gun I use. I've had this for like 20 years, I think. It's a Power Shot stapler, and it works great. I think you can get that pretty much at any hardware store. At least you used to be able to. So the window is looking perfect. The next DIY I want to make a little custom Christmas wreath for it. So I'm going to use some Dollar Tree garland and one of the foam green wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. And I think that's going to be the perfect size for a little winter wreath to hang on the window. Now, the green foam wreath forms are not very large, but they're the perfect size for this project. I just start with the garland, and I'm going to simply wrap the wired garland around to give me a little mini wreath. I was really hoping that one package of the garland would be enough to fill in the entire wreath form because it doesn't seem too big, but I wasn't able to cover all of it with just one package. I didn't want any of the green foam showing through, so I was trying to keep it as tightly wound as I can. But I'll show you how far one package of the garland got me if it's like all tight like that. So I'm going to go ahead in here with a second package and finish out this wreath form. I'm also going to be adding some different greenery a little bit to this to try to make it look a little bit better and less like a Dollar Tree wreath. Dollar Tree this year did have a little mini garland wreath, but it is really small. It was too small for this project. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and cut that wired garland, wiring it to itself. And I think this is going to be the perfect size to hang on that winter window. I went in with that snow spray again, and I'm simply going to flock the garland with it. You can also use white spray paint for that if that's all that you have. That works well. And I thought a little varied color like that is going to make it look a little bit more interesting, like more interesting than all just the plain green. For the wreath hanger, I'm using some Dollar Tree Christmas ribbon. Isn't this beautiful? I'm going to cut a nice large piece of this where I can kind of loop that and hang it from the back of the window over the top of it. Now it's time to decorate this wreath and have some fun. So I did pick up some of this Dollar Tree greenery. It's kind of like a green and yellow. I just like the fact that it looked a lot different than the greenery that was on the wreath, and I think we can make that work. So I'm just attaching the individual little greenery pieces, using some hot glue and gluing that down into the garland. And I'm going to kind of scatter these all the way around, kind of working in the same direction. I think 6 of these is going to be plenty. I don't know why I tried to attach that one wrong, but I want it to be tilted the other way like that. Now I do want to attach that little red bird from the little Dollar Tree greenery pick. I think that would be really cute on there and a nice touch of red. And just trying to see what I have to work with. I did give it one more coat of the snow spray, just because I felt like I wiped off some of it when I was DIYing with this. Now for the little frosted berries from the Dollar Tree, or snowy berries, I'm leaving 3 together, wiring them to the wreath form by actually poking through the foam and then kind of spreading the berries out a little bit. I'm also going to add a little Dollar Tree pine cone, like one right over here. I don't want to decorate it too much. I still have the bird to add and the pretty hanger there for the top. So I thought the bird would look really cute and nestled right over here. He did have a little bit of damage on him, but you won't be able to see once I hot glue him in here with the greenery. I'm so glad I decided to add the bird. I think it's a perfect touch. Again, this is the ribbon that I cut, and what I'm going to do is just attach that with maybe a staple and some hot glue to the back of the window that we DIY'd. I did cut a little bit more ribbon than I needed, but I just trimmed off the excess. That's when I decided, after I hung it up, I needed a few more snowflakes. So I'm just going to add another 2-pack of the glitter snowflakes. Really, because you could only see like one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and attach them with hot glue, just like I did before. One on each one of the top corners. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so cute. I love the traditional Christmas vibes. We've got the traditional green and red, but like the pine cone and the bird and stuff really adds a lot to the wreath. And how cute is that window? I love it. Definitely a fun Dollar Tree version and really heavy duty considering the fact that it's made out of wood and glass. It definitely looks high end. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We're really close to 50,000 and I would really appreciate it if you would hype this video. Okay, the next DIY, I'm going to make a fun little coastal Christmas tree with one of these little triangular box signs from the Dollar Tree. I was able to find a few weak spots on this where I can just kind of pop the back off. But if you can't, I used one of these in one of my recent Christmas videos here on my channel. You can always hammer out the back if you need to, if you're having trouble getting that off. But basically, you just want to pop that off and clean up the frame. We're just going to ditch the back of it because I want it to be an open triangle so we can do like a little structural Christmas tree, and I wanted to hang a little coastal Christmas ornament right inside. So I tried to get off as much paper as I could there on that, and then I'm just going over it with this color of, I think this is the Caribbean blue, just to give it a nice little coat of teal and cover up all that paper. That is going to be the back, but I still wanted to make it look nicer since nothing's going to be covering it. And then I just flipped it over and did the same thing here on the other side, covering like that MDF part of the wood with the blue. Now I'm going to need a couple of wood beads. These are just regular natural wood beads, and I'm going to paint them that same beachy Caribbean blue color. I'm only going to need a couple of these. I just wanted these to use to make a little coastal Christmas ornament that we can hang inside the Christmas tree. This DIY was really easy to put together, and it turned out so cute. So again, we're using one of the Shore Living sand dollars. I try to stock up every year so that I have enough to use for Christmas of all of their beautiful sand dollars and starfish. And I like to paint mine because they're a little bit gray and just a little bit of ivory. You're going to be able to see this from the front and the back though, so I went ahead and painted the back of my sand dollar ivory too. Now I just have to figure out how to do this since I'm kind of going in the top corner of that Christmas tree, how we're going to attach it in there. And I start out with just some wood beads. These are like the smaller wood beads that are already strung. I'm going to use those in combination with the blue beads that we painted. And just kind of string them into a really cute little pattern, like 2, 1, 2, 1, like that. And then we can hang the little sand dollar right inside. I decided that it was too long, so I ditched one of the blue ones and tied the twine just into the slot there on the little Dollar Tree sand dollar. And then I decided, you know what, I might be able to get it to fit. So I popped the blue one back on and knotted up my twine to tie off this cute little ornament. And then it's just a matter of attaching it to this corner. I just put some hot glue in the very top of my triangle sign and then hot glued that blue bead right in place where it will stay secure up there, but the little Christmas ornament can dangle down inside the little Christmas tree shape. So now that we have that all constructed, I do want to decorate my tree a little bit to make it more like a Christmas tree. So it's got the Christmas tree shape, but I thought maybe it might need a tree topper and like a little bit of a trunk. So for the tree topper, I'm going to use one of these little blue molded starfish. I get these on Amazon. I do have them posted in my Amazon shop below. And I love these. They come in white and blue, I know, because I use both of them. I'm just going to hot glue that to the very top of my sign. And then I just need a little tree trunk. I have some scrap wood that I'm going to use to make that, but you could always make this part with those little jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree. That would work really well. I'm just going to slice off a little piece so that I don't want it to be tipping over, so I don't want it to be super tall, but I do want it to have, you know, just the shape of having a tree trunk. I think it gives it more of the Christmas tree vibe. Just kind of testing it out. Is this going to work or not? And I think it is. So I'm just going to hot glue the top of that wood block and set my little Christmas tree right here on top. And there it is, our little sand dollar Christmas ornament Christmas tree. You could actually do any kind of a Christmas ornament, hanging it down inside, but I think the sand dollar just makes a perfect one. And this is how it turned out. Super easy to DIY this. And another fun version of something, you can turn the little triangle signs from the Dollar Tree into a Christmas tree. It's definitely beachy. I love the wood of the frame. I think that goes great with the coastal decor. Now, the next DIY, I wanted to make a lobster trap buoy ornament, and I couldn't find anything that was shaped like that, so we're gonna make it. So I'm using a Dollar Tree foam block. These are the ones that come in the individual pieces. And I want it to be kind of square. So I was kind of measuring mine so I would know where to cut it. And I'm going to cut it with like the little pool noodle cutters from the Dollar Tree. They work pretty well for foam. But I'm kind of flipping it over as I go to make sure that I get a nice kind of clean cut and nothing breaks off too crazy there. And this is what we're going to mold into our little lobster trap buoy. I've got like just kind of a rectangular piece right now. And so I just kind of need to shave off the top because I need that distinctive shape that's on the top of a buoy. So I just kind of shave off at an angle. And I'm going to do that on all four sides. I start at the top and then go to the bottom to try to make sure that nothing breaks off kind of funny. And this stuff is pretty moldable at this point. So if you don't get it just right, you can kind of work with it to make it look perfect. You can even mold it a little bit with your fingers. It's so moldable at this point. We will seal it and paint it, so hopefully it will lose some of that. But that is what it looks like right now, a little miniature lobster trap buoy. Now for the hole, I'm just going to use the bottom of a paintbrush to kind of poke a hole through there. It works perfect for that. Large enough that we can put some twine through there for a rope. And then this part is kind of crucial. I'm going to seal the entire thing with Mod Podge because we're going to go in and paint it. And right now the paint doesn't have anything to stick to because that foam is like very crumbly and stuff like that. And so I'm going over the whole thing, every side, the top and bottom, with Mod Podge. And we're going to let that dry, and it's going to kind of give us more of a solid surface where we can work with. Now I've made a larger version of these lobster trap buoys out of the larger pieces of foam for 4th of July. So I knew I could do it, but I really love how this turned out with the miniature size. So this is what it looks like all dried. So you can kind of see that it's more of a solid surface now. And now I'm going to go in with some ivory acrylic and we're going to paint all the areas with that. I thought we would do a couple different colors on this to make it look beachy. If you wanted to do red and white stripes for like a candy cane theme or more of Christmas colors, you totally can. But I'm going to stick with the blues and stuff like that most of my coastal Christmas tree is already decorated in. And after I've made all of these ornaments today, my Christmas tree is going to look spectacular this year. I'm so excited. And coastal Christmas ornaments are super easy to make. You'll see some of these projects today are just so easy. I made about half of these yesterday. And then half of them are some of the coastal Christmas ornaments that I did last year. And that will be later on in the video today. So now for the blue part, I'm using my favorite color, Cloudless Acrylic by Apple Barrel. And it's kind of tricky, this part. I wanted to do the top part of the buoy in blue, but you really don't want to use painter's tape on this. I know from experience, it's not going to go well for you. So I'm trying to get straight lines, and I was kind of struggling with that, but I kind of just kept adding to it until I finally got some straight lines. And I want it to be kind of striped too. So I'm going to go back and kind of touch up my line to make it straighter and add a ivory stripe just to kind of break it up a little bit, kind of make it look more realistic. So I just kind of straighten up all those lines just by going back in there with the ivory. And then I'm just going to use one of these small brushes, from the Dollar Tree to do lines. And that worked out pretty well. I'm used to being able to use painter's tape for lines, so I was like, man, this is hard trying to get this straight. But again, it's going to be handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I absolutely love how cute this little lobster trap buoy turned out. It is adorable. So I'm just going over it with a couple coats to make sure that I cover the blue that is underneath. And otherwise, I think it's ready to go. I'm not going to add any numbers or anything to mine, but you totally could. You could put 1225 or something like that. I considered it, but it's kind of a small buoy, and I kind of liked the simplicity of just the stripes. So then I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine and feed it through the little hole that we put here on the top of the buoy. And carefully pull that through. I don't want to mess anything up. And then we can just use that to tie it and make a simple little ornament hanger where it's kind of knotted here at the top. And it's very lightweight. This could go like on any Christmas tree branch. It's not going to weigh hardly anything. And I love how this turned out. I really tried to find something the shape of this, and I'm like, you know what? Nothing is shaped like this at Dollar Tree. Definitely going to have to make it from scratch. But look how cute it turned out. It looks just like a little blue and white striped buoy. This is how it looks hanging on my little Christmas tree that I got at Dollar Tree Plus this year. It's such a cute little tree. And it's great for displaying ornaments like this. I picked up a little candle plate from the Dollar Tree and one of their newer battery operated candles. These are kind of cool, right? Because they already have like the jar, and it kind of has a gold tint. It's got the batteries in there already. Going to turn that on, a little flickering candle. And what I want to do is make a candle holder for it, something kind of retro and traditional Christmas. I thought jingle bells would be fun, so I picked up the red jingle bells and the gold jingle bells from Dollar Tree. These are definitely like the larger size ones. And I'm going to alternate red, gold, all the way around with these. And I'm going to add some greenery as well, make this super festive. I found that I could fit about 4 red and 4 gold well. And so I think that's going to work. And that'll be easy enough to space out too. But I also have to make sure that my candle still fits in there. I'm going to go ahead and attach them with hot glue. I hot glue them to the glass base. Normally I don't hot glue to glass, but this seemed to hold up pretty well. I just did the red and I did straight across from each other. That way it will help me with spacing. And I'm slightly tilting them out so you can see the jingle bell top, that like little snowflake design from the sides. And it's going to give me a little bit more room to be able to take the candle in and out when I want to turn it on and off. So I just do that all the way around. Now, I don't like the fact that you can see like the glass between the jingle bells. So I thought I'd fill that up with a little bit of the Dollar Tree faux snow. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop that candle out and add some snow in there. I don't really want the snow underneath where the candle is. I just use a paintbrush to kind of push it down where I want in between each one of the jingle bells, clear out a spot for my candle, and sit that right back in there. For the greenery, I'm using Dollar Tree garland. I'm just going to cut off a piece long enough to overlap slightly so that I can wire the garland to each other to make a cute little, what did they used to call these? Candle wreaths, maybe? I know my mom always had those for traditional Christmas decor way back when in the 70s and 80s. But look how festive this turned out. It was so easy to do. Just a couple items from the Dollar Tree. And I love the jingle bell touch. I think that's a really fun idea as well. You could also do this with Christmas ornaments too, though. It would look really cute. This is how mine looks during the day. And then let me also show you what it looks like lit up. Even though it's not totally dark here, I can kind of give you an idea of how that's going to look. And it was so easy to put together, really festive. And I love those new candles. I found them in this gold color and also a black color at Dollar Tree, but you might want to test them and make sure they worked because my black one does not want to work right. I think there's something weird with the switch on them. For the next DIY, we're going to do a coastal version of Santa's sleigh. I actually found this one at Target Dollar Spot for $5. It is actually a really nice size, and I thought it was perfect for this. I didn't like the black color of the sleigh, though, so I'm going to make a few changes. I just unscrewed it. I figured that would be the easiest way to kind of change the color of it. For this one, I'm going to switch up the color schemes. We're going to still be doing Coastal Christmas, but instead of blue, I'm going to be doing some green and pink, and you'll see what I mean by the pink in just a minute. So I just take some Christmas green acrylic paint, and I'm just repainting the sleigh. I think Dollar Spot at Target has different versions of these. I don't know if Dollar Tree Plus does, but you should be able to find some kind of a sleigh. If you can't find anything there, you might want to check your Goodwill store. I seem to be able to find one every year. Now for the sleigh itself, I want to decorate the sides, and I'm going to use one of these like little wood signs from the Dollar Tree that say Season's Greetings. It actually fits perfectly up there. It's like a ribbon sign. I think that will be really cute on the front. I do like the wood color of the sleigh, so I'm definitely going to leave that alone. I told you I was going to do green and pink, so I use like a candy pink acrylic color here and just a makeup sponge to paint that. A makeup sponge works perfectly because you're not going to get lots of extra paint inside those cutout letters causing any issues. But if you do, be sure to kind of get it out before it sets up. So I think that looks good. We're going to attach that to the side, so we'll have the green bottom of the sleigh that we painted. And I'm so glad I decided to unscrew that because it was definitely a lot easier to paint it when it was not attached. So I'm just going to go ahead and screw that back on. We're going to be attaching the Season's Greetings there to the side of the sleigh. And then to pull the sleigh, I have a really fun find from Dollar Tree that is perfect for tropical or a beach Christmas. A little hot glue here. So you don't have to stick with like the beachy blue colors to do like a coastal Christmas. That is for sure. You can kind of mix it up a little bit. Now I do want to fill it up. I don't want to fill it up with like Santa or anything like that. I want to make it more decorative. So I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree floral foam and cut a piece down that will fit inside of it that we can fill it up with some tropical florals. It is not quite as thick as this though, so I did have to cut it down some more to make just a tiny wedge. Now for the flowers, I'm going to be using these poinsettias from the Dollar Tree in white. They're so pretty. I think these look fun for like a tropical vibe. And the white color goes well with like the green and the pinks that we're going to be using. So I'm just cutting those down using the floral foam to arrange those. They're nice and full, so they fill up the sleigh rather easily. I guess you could always fill it up with some like wrapped presents or something like that too. You could do something really cute with that. But I kind of wanted it to be a floral sleigh just for decor. But I told you I had a surprise for how we were going to pull this sleigh because I do want something in front of it. Instead of reindeer, we're going to be using pink flamingos. I found these at the Dollar Tree. They are light up little pink flamingos. They're so cute. I love them. So I picked up 5 of them. These were like at the checkout area of my store. Be sure to test them. I noticed that some of them didn't want to work all the time. But I'm going to go ahead and turn them on. This is how they light up. Isn't that so cute? And instead of reindeer pulling the sleigh, we're going to have flamingo because you can't get much more tropical than that, right? I'm going to line those up in front of the sleigh. You know, fun fact about flamingos is that we used to have them in Florida, and I think they were pretty much hunted till we didn't have them anymore. But now occasionally we get them, and I have been on a mission for a couple of years to spot them. I know they've been like at Ding Darling over in Sanibel and stuff like that, but supposedly we have them again now. I see the roseate spoonbills, but I have not been lucky enough to find a wild flamingo yet, but I'm sure I will. Now, since my lead flamingo is going to be the lead reindeer, I decided to repaint his nose bright red, of course, to make him our little Rudolph flamingo. And I just painted it white so it would take the red color a little bit better over the black. There he is, our little Rudolph flamingo. And then I do want them to look like reindeer, right? So I'm going to use some of the coral tree ornaments. They're not really coral, but I call them that because that's what they look like. And we're actually going to use those to make antlers for the little flamingos. I needed a little bit more of a reindeer touch. See how they kind of look like antlers? If you were to bust them off. So that's what I'm going to do. They are made out of plastic, so they're easy enough to break. And I'm just going to break down pieces of those to make little antlers for each one of our little pink flamingos. And I love this idea. It turned out so cute. So I'm just breaking off 2 for each one. So I'm going to need a total of 10. And I'm just kind of doing like kind of the outer pieces. It's a little bit easier to do. They're all a little bit different, but antlers are all a little bit different. So I think that'll work. I attach them with a very small dot of hot glue. And since I'm gluing it to the plastic like that, you just kind of have to hold them until they start to set up a little bit before you let go of them for sure. But once you get them glued on there, they should be good to go. Isn't that so fun? Look at him. I love it. A little reindeer flamingo. I am a big fan of flamingos. Anytime there is a chance to see them, I'm always over there looking at the flamingos at the zoo or SeaWorld or whatever because they're so cute. And I just do that on all of them. And we're going to have a set of reindeer. If you can find more of the pink flamingos, you can always have more reindeer as well. But I thought 5 would work perfectly. Let me show you how it turned out. Our little Seasons Greetings Target Dollar Spot sled with the white poinsettias. And of course, our little pink flamingo reindeer pulling the sleigh. Super fun. I think that's one of my favorite coastal Christmas crafts I've ever done. Just because it's so creative. Isn't that adorable? I love it. I want to make a little coastal Santa. I picked up a little metal sleigh from Dollar Tree. It's an ornament. And I chose mine in silver because I thought that would be coastal, very neutral. It does have a little Christmas greenery and bow and stuff attached to the side. I just go ahead and remove that. But I'm going to leave the original hanger on this. I'm not going to do much DIYing on the outside of it. I think it is already ready to go. And then I'm going to DIY one of these little Santa ornaments. Now he does have like this little hanger on the top. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew that because I don't need that to be there. And I also pull off the little name tag I guess he's holding. I didn't realize he didn't have a hand underneath there though, so I'm going to have to work with that. But it came right off. And what I want to do is make him a coastal Santa. So instead of a red Santa suit, I want him to have a blue Santa suit. So the first thing I do is kind of just fill in the hole where the little hanger was with a little bit of spackle, just so that's not super noticeable. And we're going to paint this one turquoise. So a little bit deeper blue than we've been using for some of the DIYs. And I'm also going to make sure that the back of him is painted too. So I just go over the red parts of his suit back there. Definitely doesn't have to be perfect here on the back, but I just wanted to cover up the red. And then we're also going to paint the front. So he has like the Santa suit, the hat. I'm just using a small paintbrush so I can kind of get in to these small areas. A little difficult, but if I get any on the white, I can always touch it up. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so any kind of like fine paint detail on painting like this, I struggle with, but we're going to make it work. So here's his little pants. Again, I'm going to probably have to go over that with another coat because I'm covering red. You know, it's kind of hard to cover red, especially with a light blue. And I wasn't sure what to do with the brim of his hat, where it's white with the red stripes. I think that kind of clashes a little bit now that I've made him this nice beachy blue Santa outfit. And so I'm going to paint. I decided to paint over that because I didn't really want that to be clashing. And I needed to touch up the white anyway. So I'm using a white paint pen and kind of touching up any of the white areas that needed touching up from being painted with blue. And I'm just going to go over that part of the hat a couple of times. It'll mask those little red stripes on there and just make it look a little bit more consistent. And of course, I got lots of turquoise paint everywhere. So this step was necessary to touch up all those little details. And going over the brim of his hat again. And kind of checking your edges too to make sure that any place that you see here that any other color is shining through, you cover that up. So I think he's looking really coastal. I want to do something fun where he's like in the little sleigh and doing something beachy. Since he doesn't have a hand anymore, I guess, I'm going to have it look like he's holding a giant seashell. And instead of gifts, he is handing out seashells, my kind of Santa, right? So again, I just take one of those little seashells from the Dollar Tree, one of the bigger ones, and put it in his hand. That way it kind of hides the fact that he doesn't have a mitten on that hand. And I'm going to have him ride in it just like that. So I put a little hot glue here in the bottom, sitting his feet down in it. And then we're going to fill up the sleigh with seashells. I have tons of these. Again, I get these on Amazon. I just put some hot glue there in the bottom and then kind of push them all down to make sure that they're all glued down, like they're not going to fall out when I go to store this ornament in between seasons. I'm going to do another row here, and I'm going to kind of keep filling it until it looks full and you can see it from kind of the top and the sides that his sleigh is filled with seashells. Maybe a few more here and there. I found that they were kind of going down at the bottom a little bit where you couldn't see them, so I kind of just kept adding to them. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal Santa. I think it's really sweet and a fun way to take a couple of ornaments from the Dollar Tree and make them coastal. Look, look at how it is like overflowing with seashells. Really a fun present, Santa. And I'm glad I didn't really do anything with the sleigh. I think it's fine. Just the silver, I think that looks really neutral for coastal decor. For the next one, I wanted to do a wood bead snowman wreath. So I picked up a wood bead wreath from the Dollar Tree. And then I wanted a smaller size for the head. So I picked up a 3-pack of just the wire reforms. And this is the smaller one because I wanted the head of the snowman to be a little smaller. So it's super easy to break that in half right at its welding point. And I'm going to make my own little wood bead wreath, just a smaller size to coordinate with the one that I got at the Dollar Tree. So I'm actually just using Dollar Tree wood beads. These are the ones that are already strung together, but you know, they have these in packages too. And it's almost the same size as the wood beads that they used on theirs. And so I think it's going to go really nice together. I was thinking of like a Scandinavian design because it's going to be like natural wood colors, and then we can add some greenery and some fun touches to it. It's just going to be very subtle snowman wall hanging, or you could use this as a wreath. So it's just a matter of covering this entire little wreath form with wood beads. When I got to the end, I wasn't sure if I should fill it all the way up or leave a small gap. And I decided to leave a small gap. It's going to make it easier to gather the wreath form back together. So as you can see, there was kind of room for one more wood bead, but we're going to use the 2 wires coming together there and kind of marry those together. So I'm just going to start with taking a piece of twine. And then I'm also going to use hot glue. So it's going to be hot glued together and it's going to be tied together to keep that together. I tie a double knot and then I can use that same twine to tie it where the wreath form comes together here on the larger wood bead wreath. That's going to be the body of my snowman. If you wanted a 3-piece snowman, you could keep going and do another one of those wood bead wreaths, but it's going to end up being pretty long. So depends on how big you want your snowman to be. I think 2 is going to be plenty for mine. So that was super easy to attach those together. Now we just need to figure out how to design a snowman hat and like little snowman arms. So I picked up just a craftwood square from the Dollar Tree, and I have a Dollar Tree wood ruler that I thought we could use for the brim to make a classic looking snowman hat. Now, all you have to do is peel the stickers off on these, and you have a great piece of wood that you can always cut down to size. So I just peeled the stickers off mine, took mine to my saw, cut it down into the right size, and now it's just a matter of trying to put this together. Now, I'm going to show you how I did it. I ended up doing something different, but my first attempt, I was going to put the hanger at the top like that, and I wanted my snowman hat to kind of tilt off to the side. I ended up changing the style because it just physically didn't work like I thought it would, but I'll take you through all the steps. So I'm just going to drill a couple holes in my little craft wood from Dollar Tree so that I can string that to my wood bead wreath for the head of the snowman. And again, I wanted mine to tilt. So I thought I could kind of put it off to the side here. And I'll kind of show you why it doesn't work. I put twine through each one of my holes that I drew on there. And then I just tied that to my wood bead wreath. Now, I wasn't sure if this was going to work because is that going to be like stay against the wall or the door, or is it going to kind of fold forward? I went ahead and attached like the brim of my hat, thinking that if I glued the two together, that would make it plenty stable. But then I took it and tried to hang it up, and it wasn't real stable. So we're going to have to slightly change the design of the snowman, and I'll show you what I did to fix him. So this is me deciding, yeah, plan B. I don't think he's going to be able to have a tilted hat. He's going to have a straight hat. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I already kind of did that, so I left it in. You know, not all of our plans always work, but I can also show you what I did to fix it. So I just took everything apart. We're going to go in here again, and we're going to string it directly to the top of the snowman. That way we can make that the hanging piece for the entire wreath. And it actually turned out really cute, even though it wasn't what I originally designed. I'm going to find the middle of this piece of wood to drill a hole so we can make a hanger. And so I just kind of measured it, drilled a hole in there. That way, that's going to be nice and centered. And we're going to kind of put it together the same way, except the snowman's going to be wearing his hat straight. And I actually liked it better that way. So do it this way, not the way I did it. So again, I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine and just string this in. I have the brown and white twine, but you can use whatever you've got. I just happen to have this on my work desk. And then I'm trying to count how many wood beads I have so I can try to get this on evenly. I found that if you count it more than once, you get a different number every time. So I'm trying again to see if I have it on there right, because it did not look right. And you know what? I did not have it on there right. So I'm going to kind of rearrange it and then tie that off, make sure everything's the center, pull all of my twine to the back of the wreath so you won't be able to see any of that, right? And then double knot it, and that I can trim off the excess twine back there. I'm actually doing the voiceover for this DIY video in the Keys right now. We're in Marathon celebrating my son's 19th birthday. We're having so much fun here, but I had the video done, but it didn't have the voiceover done. So I wanted to get this up this weekend for y'all so you can have some more Christmas content. So I am finishing this video off down here. I'm just going to now go ahead and take the ruler, glue that to our little snowman sign. And I just tied a simple knot for the hanger at the very top. And we have the structure of the snowman. Now it's going to be just the simple round shapes for the head and the body, but I wanted them to have little snowman arms. So this is the greenery we used for our wall hanging from Dollar Tree, and it's already wired. So I just put that around my wreath form in between two wood beads, stringing that around, and it's going to stick out to the side like little greenery arms for our snowman. And it actually worked really well. It was super easy. I'm going to again count my wood beads so I can get my little arms even. And I'm just going to wrap the wire around the wire from the wreath form. And we have two little arms. That could not be easier, and it goes perfect with the Scandinavian style. Now, I picked up this eucalyptus at the Dollar Tree that I think is so beautiful too. This is in with their Christmas greenery as well. It has the beautiful eucalyptus, and it's got like little flowers on it as well. I thought this would be the perfect thing to decorate like the neck of the snowman. You could always do a scarf, but I kind of wanted to go with the greenery effect so it'll just be like greenery and wood on the snowman. And I love the contrast. It's so beautiful together. So I just take a two-piece of the leaves that are attached together. I'm going to go ahead and leave all my leaves attached together and just glue that to my wood beads, and we're going to decorate the little neck of the snowman. I want to kind of fill it in like you would do like the bottom of a wreath or something like that, but again, it's going to also serve to kind of cover that area of the snowman between the two little body parts. So I'm just kind of feeling it out. I don't want it to be super symmetrical, So I glued on 2 more of the 2 leaves, and then I'm going to glue another one on here. Kind of mixing up which direction it's going and stuff like that. I want it to look kind of random and not super symmetrical down here. And then gluing the little flower in as well. And the colors on that eucalyptus go so well with the colors on the greenery that we use there for the little snowman arms. So I like it. I think it's really pretty, but I think it needs a little bit more. So I'm going to take a few more off. And the easiest way to do this is just to pull it off of the greenery. It comes apart really easily. You don't need to cut it or anything like that. And I'm just going to kind of build this out a little bit more, gluing them to each other and also gluing them to the wood bead wreath there, just so it's nice and full, kind of like that. I thought about making it come down like a scarf, but I thought I might not be able to pull that off. We're going to make it just the neck area. So just a few more little pieces here until I'm happy with it. And I thought maybe and one more over here. And basically that's all there is to it. We're going to leave the wood natural color for the hat and for the wood beads. It goes with the Scandinavian Christmas decor. It goes with my coastal decor as well. And it turned out so cute. I haven't decided if I'm going to use this indoor or outdoor. Since everything's tied together with twine, I don't see why it would not hold up well outdoor. I do have a white door though, so I don't know if it's going to have, I think it might look better on my tan, like brownish walls in my home. But this is our little snowman. Isn't he so adorable? Our next one, we're going to try some of the Dollar Tree glass etching cream. I picked up this great display vessel at the Target dollar spot. It's really nice. It was $5, but you could use whatever you've got. Sometimes for a size this big, I can't find anything at Dollar Tree, but you could always find a thrifted piece as well. The benefit of this is it's already got the pedestal and everything. It's just a matter of removing all these pesky stickers. Why do they make them so hard to get off? But a little Goo Gone, scraping, and Windex, we're going to have like a very clean surface. I also went over it with rubbing alcohol to make sure everything was off because I want to make a stencil. Now this stencil I made with my Cricut, and I'm just using stencil vinyl. I get this vinyl and this paper transfer paper on Amazon, and they are linked in my shop below. And I just did Joy with a sand dollar for the middle. I don't know if I have that Cricut file available to share. I just designed it in Design Space, and I did Joy, and then I just took the O out and took a Cricut Design Space sand dollar and designed that for the middle. It was a little tricky getting it on there because the middle parts of my sand dollar kind of attached before I got it on there too smoothly, but I was able to save this. I want that on there as tight as possible because we're going to be using that Dollar Tree glass etching cream. I'm going to kind of use a couple sticks here to prevent it from rolling around, and then tape off the edges of my stencil with painter's tape. Now, this is the glass etching cream that I found at Dollar Tree. I was really impressed to find this for $1.25. I don't know how common it is to find it though, because I don't see it often. I'm just going to give it a quick stir, but you can get glass etching cream pretty much at any craft store. I know I've seen it at Target before too, but not for $1.25, but I wanted to try the Dollar Tree version. So I'm just going to use a foam brush, and I am just going to spread that all over and do a little glass etching. I wasn't sure how much to put on there, so I kind of just pushed it on there with the foam because I wanted like it to be thick enough to actually do its job. Now the instructions say to leave it on there for 15 to 30 minutes. I chose 30 minutes because I wanted as much etching as I could get. I'm going to go ahead and remove my painter's tape. And then I just ran it underneath my sink to wash off the glass etching cream. And now we can just pull off our little vinyl stencil. This was really fun to do. I didn't get a perfect etching job, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm just going to use my Cricut weeder to pull out all the little tiny pieces here on the sand dollar. It's definitely beachy and fun for coastal Christmas. And when it dries, you'll be able to see the etching even better. I'm going to go ahead and speed that up a little bit there with my heat gun.
And you can kind of see that cool etching pattern on there. I thought that would be really fun. Definitely a coastal Christmas with the sand dollar and the joy. Now it's time to decorate the inside of this little Target dollar spot. You can kind of see I did get a little bit of bleeding there on my stencil, but not too bad for my first attempt. Now to decorate it, I'm going to use some sand, of course. I chose the white sand from Dollar Tree. I thought that would be great for Christmas. And then some of these little bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree as well. And at first I was going to put a candle in there, but I didn't really like it too much with that candle. So we're just going to decorate ours with bottle brush trees. Now the trees I got at Dollar Tree were white, so I thought they would look even better if I made them a little bit more colorful. So we're just going to give these a paint job. Did you know you could paint these? They're super easy to paint. This color on this one is, let me look it up. Oh, Misty Ocean. And this is an acrylic paint that I got at Target. Really beautiful color. And I thought I would do 2 of them in that color just by taking a brush and just simply painting the bottle brush tree. I was impressed with how easy they were to do. For the third one, I'm going to use the Caribbean blue color. That is also a Target color. And we are just going to go over that with a brush to get that all in there as well. I thought I was going to have to spray paint those bottle brush trees, but it was actually way easier, I think, just to use a little acrylic paint. That way I don't have to go outside and make a mess with spray paint. So I just went ahead and nested those inside our little glass etched vase, and then we can decorate with some of the little bottled seashells from Dollar Tree and a starfish. I'm using one of the starfish that I got on Amazon, one of the real ones, and then just some seashells that I have from my seashell stash from the beach. Super easy, definitely coastal Christmas theme, but a fun way to take one of the glasswares from the Target dollar spot, or again, you could use something thrifted and make a really beautiful coastal Christmas display. And this is how it turned out. I'm really glad that I decided to paint the trees, and they look beautiful in there with the white sand and the seashells and starfish. And I'll try to show you the etching. It's a little bit hard to see with just the picture from the front. So I can kind of show you how the etching looks here by giving you a little bit of video. So Joy, not a perfect job on the glass etching.
We're going to be making some Christmas vacation Christmas ornaments. I actually made these as a Christmas present for my sister because this is her family's favorite Christmas movie as well. I'm going to show you how to make a set of 6 Christmas ornaments, all inspired by scenes from the movie. And we're going to be using these little wood slice ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They're a little over 3 inches, and the great thing about them is they already have the holes pre-drilled in them, but you could always drill a hole in the wood slices they have that are not the ornament ones. I designed 6 images, all inspired by different scenes from the movie to make these. I made them all like about 3.5 inches, some of them like 3.25 inches, just because some of the wood slices were a little smaller. And this is the first one. This is the Jelly of the Month Club, you know, that famous bonus that Clark didn't really want. He wanted his cash bonus for Christmas. And then I just lay my wood slice on top using an ink pen to draw that out. Then I'm simply just going to go in and cut that out. I don't want it to go over the edges of the wood slice if I can. So I trim it once, kind of like check it out to see if that's going to work. And then I can always trim it more because I want to make sure I don't have like any paper going over the sides. And I have so many printables and SVG cut files for you today that I had to make an entire folder on my Google Drive. So I'll be sure to share those with you. I'm going to do a nice thick of coat of Mod Podge here on my wood slice. Because the wood's kind of rough, it kind of soaks it in. And the cardstock that I printed these out on, you know, is nice and thick. So I need that to be secure. I just lay it flat on top. Gave mine a quick trim there because I didn't really like something I saw there, making sure all of my edges were down. And you don't even really have to wait for this to dry with cardstock. You can just go over the top of it with another coat of Mod Podge to seal that on. I'm going to go in with my heat gun and give that a quick dry. And then we can poke a new hole in there so that we can string up our ornament on there. You can kind of feel around where it's going to be. I like to use a little Cricut weeder to poke a little hole in there. And I really had no problem at all feeding these little thin pieces of twine through. I found that they hang a little bit better if you go ahead and tie them off first. So I tied mine off twice to the wood slice, and then I tie it again to form a loop. I find they hang like straighter that way, not sideways. And I think that is so cute, the Jelly of the Month Club. I wanted to add a little bit of decor to the top, nothing much. I have a little bit of this red bead garland left over from Valentine's Day. And it kind of reminded me of the berries that were on the Jelly of the Month Club image there. So I thought I would cut down just a little bit of that. I'm not sure if they have this for Christmas, but they might. Valentine's and Christmas stuff can be used pretty interchangeably with the red color. And then I'm just going to use a little dot of hot glue on the very top of my wood slice and attach that. Now, I made all of my images on the same sheet, so I will be sure to include that, even though I did kind of custom size some of mine. But I'll also be sure to include each one of these images for the ornaments as an individual file in my Google Drive for you to kind of scroll around, find out what you want to print, and you can make a little Jelly of the Month Club ornament just like this. So cute. Stick around a little later in the video. We're actually going to be making a Jelly of the Month Club DIY. Just a funny scene, and I'm going to actually put all these together on this little tree I got at Dollar Tree Plus to do a themed Christmas tree. And I think these would also be really good to give as a gift because you could give a whole set of ornaments. And I think anyone that loves the movie would enjoy it. The next image I designed was a little white cat wrapped up in a Christmas present, and the present saying meow. So this represents a scene where Aunt Bethany, accidentally wrapped up her cat as a gift, which was super funny. And so I even made sure to give it a white tail to represent the little cat from the movie. And of course, we have to have the little present saying meow when you shake it. And I'm just cutting that one down to size. And I'm using AI to create all of these images for you today. I gave it a lot of details from a scene of the movie that I wanted to recreate. It did a great job. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me which AI program I'm using. And I'm just using ChatGPT, the paid version. It has built-in DALL-E 3. And like how I would do it would be, I would say, design me an image. I want a Christmas present. And in it, I want a white cattail sticking out and see what it can do. If you don't like its results, you can always regenerate. It's making changes or adding new details. The only thing the AI just can't spell. So if you want to add words or anything like this, you'll have to do it later. I do mine with Canva, but it does a great job. So I'm just going to tie this one off. I poked a hole and put the twine in there. Now for decor for this piece, I thought it'd be fun to represent the little white cattail. So I picked up one of these little white boas from Dollar Tree. These are like toys, but they have them in with Christmas, I think, because so many people use them to make Christmas trees, which was my plan for it. And I'm just going to cut off one little boa here, boa piece, feather, and glue it to the very top. And it kind of looks like the little furry white cattail sticking out of the little Christmas present. So here's little Aunt Bethany's cat. Super fun. And again, I think that this would be a great gift idea. I'm sure many of you guys know people that really love this movie, and pairing them all together as a set is a really fun idea. This is how it looks hanging on that little Christmas tree from Dollar Tree Plus. Now, the next image I had to make a tiny bit smaller. They're all like about 3 inches. This one was a tiny bit smaller. The image I designed was a little squirrel wearing a Santa hat playing with Christmas lights and Christmas trees. And this was inspired by, Clark bringing the Christmas tree in from the yard and then being attacked by the squirrel when he was dressed up as Santa. I thought it'd be fun to bring all those pieces together, and how cute is this little squirrel? It's so adorable. I'm just going to kind of trim this one down to size. This one was kind of a little bit odder size, but you can kind of trim it down to however you want. And I printed all mine all out on one sheet of cardstock. I just find that it's easier to Mod Podge with. You don't have to worry about wrinkles. It helps with drying and stuff like that. And it makes it super sturdy. So I put Mod Podge under and over, give it a quick dry, and we are getting really good at this now. I'm going to poke a hole in here. Sometimes it was a little trickier to find. And just thread or twine through, tying this one off as well. Now, since this one is like the little squirrel in the Christmas tree, I thought we would decorate the top of this one with a little Christmas greenery. So these are those little wired greenery pieces from the Dollar Tree. And I just cut down a little tiny piece. We're going to have it kind of go out this direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut a second piece to come out the other direction, just to give it a little bit of feel of a Christmas tree. Just something super easy. And I think just having a little piece of decor on these little wood slices just makes them look a little bit less plain and adds to the festive touch of the Christmas ornament. So there is our cute little Christmas girl in the Christmas tree, ready to jump on Clark's back, making everybody faint. That movie is hysterical. I love it. I think he's so cute. I love that image with his little fluffy tail. Now, the next Christmas ornament we're going to make is Cousin Eddie's legendary RV. I designed a blue and white vintage RV. I wasn't able to make it quite as dirty as his, but you kind of get the idea. I also decorated it for Christmas. I thought would be cute. And so I'm just going to lay the little wood slice right here on top. And again, I'm just using an ink pen to draw that on. So I can get it, going the same direction and that perfect, like, odd circular cut. And I always try it on first. It usually requires a lot of trimming here to get it just perfect for the wood slice shape. And I just love wood slice ornaments. I think they're so fun. I made a coastal Christmas video with Cricket where I did some beach ones on these, and they just turned out so pretty. So that's another option you can do with those, is you can add vinyl to them and make really easy ornaments too. But I think, Mod Podging it is definitely a fun use too. So I went ahead and glued Cousin Eddie's little vintage RV here on the front and poked a hole right in front, and we're going to tie this one up. Now, to decorate this one, I thought it would be fun to do little Christmas decorations on here, kind of like how I decorated his little RV there. So I'm going to start out with jingle bells. They have these little jingle bell wire garlands at Dollar Tree. I thought it'd be fun to add a little jingle bells on there. Cousin Eddie coming to visit for Christmas. So I just cut 2 of those off, and I'm just going to wrap those around the little hanger here at the top. They are wires. They should kind of stay where they're supposed to. And I'm going to trim off the excess. You might want to glue those on. I noticed that they do slide right off if you don't. I did have to go back and add like a little dot of hot glue to the bottom of each one of those to make sure that the little jingle bells stay on. And then I wanted something to represent like Christmas lights and like the greenery that's on there. So I'm actually going to use some of this berry garland. This is from the Christmas aisle at Dollar Tree too. And I'm actually just going to use the little berries because I think they kind of look like red Christmas lights, right? And I just cut off 3 of those. We're just going to attach just the little berries themselves. So I'm going to kind of pile those up here in the front, just kind of randomly with hot glue. And then I thought it needed a little greenery too, because I, decorated the RV with like a wreath and garland. So I'm going to again use some of that greenery, the wired greenery from the Dollar Tree, and just cut off a little piece here just to provide a little bit of greenery with that as well. And we have Cousin Eddie's RV. That's an RV coming for Christmas time. Super cute, and I love how these all look together. They're so funny. My husband got a big kick out of these. He's a big fan of the movie as well. I think he's the one that got me hooked on this movie like 20 something years ago. This one is going to be the family truckster. I designed a green station wagon with wood panel on there, Christmas tree tied to the top, And it even still has the roots attached. Now, getting AI to design this one was a challenge because it did not understand the roots, but I finally got it and it was perfect. So we're just going to cut this one down as well and just trim it as needed. And we're going to go through and Mod Podge this on. I do use this image. I loved it so much on some other DIYs today. So stay tuned for those. I was able to kind of remove the background too. So if you want yours without a background, this one has a pretty subtle background of like I had it driving down a road with like a Christmas tree farm in the background. And we're going to Mod Podge this one on, just like all the other ones. So you can kind of see why I designed them as squares, since it is definitely not like a perfect round shape on these wood slices, but I think the imperfection kind of makes them even better. I like to kind of push my cardstock down with a paper towel. That way I don't really damage anything, to make sure it's all down before I go in there with my second coat, or my top coat, I guess, of the Mod Podge to seal that on. And again, we're just going to poke a hole and tie this one up as well. For this one, I thought we could decorate it like the little Christmas tree that's tied on top of the little family truckster. And so I'm just tying this one off. This hole, like some of the holes kind of go sideways through them. And so even though you can kind of feel where the hole is on the back, it's a little bit unpredictable where it's going to be on the front. So I thought we could make a little mini Christmas tree out of this wired garland from Dollar Tree. So I just cut a piece down, and then we're going to trim it to look like a Christmas tree. That was so easy. And I'm going to take it up a notch and kind of make it look just like the Christmas tree on the top of the station wagon. To do that, I thought I would use some of this wired jingle bells, but I just want like the brown wires. I think they kind of look like tree roots. I cut off 5 little pieces, and then I kind of wind them all together, having like roots kind of sticking out in all directions. They don't have to be perfectly wired together because there's not a lot of room there, because I'm going to glue it on, but I just kind of tried to give it a rough twist. And then I'm going to come in from behind and hot glue that to the top of the ornament. And this little tiny detail of adding the little Christmas tree with the roots really made this Christmas ornament look super special. So I just made sure they were all glued on and kind of sticking out every which way, just like in the image I designed there. And here it is. We have our little family truckster with the Christmas tree on top. And the reason it has all the roots on top, if you'll remember, is because he forgot his saw. I have no idea how they got that out of the ground. And I think this turned out really fun. You kind of have to look closely to really see that detail of the little Christmas tree on top, but I love it. Our last Christmas ornament that we're going to be doing today for Christmas vacation is an overcooked turkey. You guys know that they may have started the turkey too much. When they cut into it, it was completely dry and fell apart, and they had to like dip the turkey in water because it was so charred. So I have an image of a burnt turkey displayed proudly in the middle of a Christmas feast. Super funny, and just another funny scene from the movie. I love the part where like the mom is like pretending to eat vegetables during that scene, and she's like tossing them over like her shoulder with her fork instead of eating them. So funny. So many details in that movie. Now I just went ahead and Mod Podged our little burnt turkey on, making sure it's all trimmed, and then we can Mod Podge the top. We're going to poke a hole in it, tie the ornament on there, just like we did before. And I had so much fun putting these little Christmas ornaments together for you. I hope that you can recreate some and get a good laugh out of these. I love them. Had a little bit too much Mod Podge on there. And again, I will be sharing the files individually, all 6 of these Christmas ornaments. And then I'll try to include the PDF of the whole sheet of them that I designed. That way I could just use less paper. And that is our last one. I do want to decorate it, so I'm going to use that berry garland again. I thought these kind of look like, berries, cranberries, and I thought that'd be a fun little touch. So I'm just going to take a little piece of them. I want quite a few berries, and then I'm going to kind of wind them together in a circular shape to kind of make them look like, a bowl full of cranberries or something like that. So I just keep wrapping it around, kind of gathering all of the little berries on one side. And then there's kind of a hole in the middle, so I can just put that over my Christmas ornament hanger like that to kind of wrap it on. And then I do need to go in there with a little hot glue just to make sure that stays in place. But it definitely looks edible, like food that would be part of the Christmas dinner scene. And that turkey looks like it has been in the oven for a while. So there it is, our little burnt turkey, our final little Christmas vacation, Christmas ornament. Super cute. I love how all of these turned out. And I'm going to show you how they all look together because they're so fun. This is how it looks hanging on my Christmas tree. You can see it's got like the green beans, the mashed potatoes, the cranberries. So it's all decked out for Christmas, a little fire in the background. And of course, the little burnt turkey proudly displayed. Now, I told you I was going to show you how these all look together. So here, let me show you how they all look together on my mat first. You can kind of see how all these little scenes um, go so nicely together. And if you tied them all up, I think they would just make a really fun gift for Christmas, or you can use them yourself. This is how they all look together on that little $5 Christmas tree from Dollar Tree Plus. Super fun and super theme. You could always add some more Christmas vacation themes things on here, like if you could find like little stuffed squirrels or little like images that would remind you of something from the movie, that'd be really cute. And like top it off with like a Santa hat or something would be fun. The next Christmas movie we're going to make DIYs for is the movie Elf, another one of our favorite Christmas movies. And for this one, we're going to be doing an elf themed tier tray using supplies from the Dollar Tree. Now, this is the tier tray we're going to be doing. It is my 2-tier white tier tray in my kitchen. And let's go. So, for the very top of it, I kind of wanted to do a sign, and I kind of wanted to do a theme where the top of the tier tray is before Elf leaves the North Pole, and the bottom part is like New York City, was what I was kind of thinking. So, I have this little sign from the Dollar Tree, and it's just the perfect size for what I need. I got really lucky with this one, and I just give it a coat of bright red acrylic paint. And I'm not going to break out my Cricut or anything. I'm just going to use my white paint pen. And I am going to just do my best, like Ray Dunn font. And I'm going to put North Pole. I want to put this on the pole in the middle of my tier tray on the top, where it's kind of got a handle. And I kind of had a little room left over here at the end. So I thought, I might as well just draw a pole then. So I just did a little striped pole. Now, this did have a little hanger on it. I kind of need to tie it to the ring at the top of the tier tray, so I'm just going to kind of cut mine in half and tie it to the very top of my tier tray like that. So it kind of serves as a signpost for that DIY. And then I'm going to use some Dollar Tree snow. This is the sparkly kind, and I'm going to kind of scatter that all over the top tier. Now, I kind of wanted to look like the North Pole, so I wanted to do a tree for like the candy cane forest. This is a tree that I got on clearance last year at Target, I believe, and I'm just going to do it a quick flock just because it's kind of green and plain. And I just do that with a chunky brush from Dollar Tree and some white acrylic paint and just kind of dry brush all over just to make it look snowy. And even on the ground, I want it to look a little bit snowy too. Now, this is a nice tall piece, but it's the perfect height to fit right underneath my cabinet. So it's about as tall as I can go. I'm going to put that right back there in the snow. And then since it's the candy cane forest, I'm going to take a couple candy canes from Dollar Tree and actually hang them in the tree just for fun. And I really hope this voiceover is not too terrible today. Your girl has been sick. Okay, so the next DIY, I designed this printable, which I will share with you. I'll share a whole file of these today. It says, "Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad," and it's got a little narwhal on it. Now, I wanted to make this into a cute little sign for the top of the tier tray, so I printed this out on cardstock and I cut that down to size to fit on this Dollar Tree sign. When you're using cardstock like that, it's so thick you really don't even have to paint over the lettering on here. I don't think you'll be able to see through it. So I just put a nice coat of Mod Podge down and lay the little narwhal on top. And I was actually watching the Elf movie while I was constructing this, and the scene was really blue where the narwhal pops out of the water and says, "Bye, buddy, hope you find your dad." So I made the background blue to kind of fit that, and I think it turned out really cute. So once I got it on there and smoothed out, I just go over it with one more coat of Mod Podge, easy peasy. And I kind of made this custom size to what I was making, but it's rectangular, so you can probably get pretty close with whatever size sign you have for your tier tray. And it's nice and tall. We're going to put it right there on the back of our North Pole. Now, in that scene, there was also like stop motion animals. There was a puffin, and I couldn't find a puffin at Dollar Tree, but I found a penguin, and I thought, I think that's close enough. So I got this in the toy aisle. It's called Waggles, the penguin, and we're gonna put that there in front of the narwhal to represent the little animals that were all saying goodbye to the elf at the North Pole. Now, I wanted to do Santa's workshop, so I'm gonna use one of the little Dollar Tree houses. This is kind of the wider one. It's not really the one I wanted, but it's the one I had, so we're going to make it work. And then I designed this free printable. It says Santa's Workshop. It has a really festive picture of Santa's Workshop. And I know that the house is not like shaped the same, but you know what? We're going to make it work. I printed it to size, and then I just have to kind of cut off the little triangles there at the top to give it the same house shape that my house was. And I was designing this with AI, and I just could not get AI to do what I wanted it to do for the front of the house. It just kind of wanted to give me the whole scene. And then I'm like, you know what? I really like this. I'm just going to go ahead and include the whole scene. It doesn't have to be just the house on here. It's still fun that it's kind of a house shape. And so I just do a coat of Mod Podge all over and then lay my cardstock right on top. Whenever I do that, I like to smooth it out with a dry paper towel to make sure it's all down and smooth. And then I can go over it with another coat of Mod Podge to seal this down. Now, I didn't really want to leave the sides all plain, so I decided to paint mine. I'm just going to go in first with some white acrylic just to paint the sides. And then I thought it would be really cute to do like the top of Santa's workshop and make it look like snow. So I'm going to go ahead and paint it white first. And then once I get that all painted and dry, I'm going to go in there with some of that sparkly Dollar Tree snow and just glue that on. So I just make sure my paint's dry, and then I'm only going to do it on the roof. So I just do some Mod Podge on the top. And I kind of ran out of this like sparkly snow in this tier tray. I wish I had more. This is my favorite one. I don't like the ones that are like little tiny foam balls, if you know what I mean, from Dollar Tree. Those things are a mess. And I kind of scatter the snow all over, gluing it to the top of Santa's workshop. And I was so proud that AI spelled Santa's workshop right. They never spell anything right, so I never let it include words. But we're going to put that, it's going to pretty much fill out the rest of our top tier right here in front. And since the house is nice and short, it doesn't really block things in the back too much. So I think that looks pretty good. And we can move down here to the bottom tier. Now, I wanted to do Manhattan, New York City on here. And one of the things I wanted to start with was I wanted to do a banner, but then I thought maybe these little snowflake ornaments from the Dollar Tree would be good. And I'm just leaving them on their little plastic ornament hangers because I want it to look like the little snowflakes that the elf cuts up and decorates the house and Kimball's and stuff with. And so I'm just going to use these as is, and I'm just going to stick them with some double-sided tape here to the bottom of my tier where they're kind of just dangling down. And leaving the plastic on there just kind of saved me a step of having to put some fishing line on there. This is all the snow I have left for this tier tray, but that's okay. I'm just going to kind of fill up the front half, and I think that will be fine. Now, one thing that Elf had, or Buddy the Elf had, was a snow globe of New York City. So I thought we could make that for the tier tray. I thought that'd be really cute. And so I designed an image. I kind of made it round so it'll fit these little wood snow globes at the Dollar Tree, but only the top part. So I do need to paint the bottom. So I decided to go in there and paint that part white. I was watching the movie, and the snow globe had like a white bottom, so I decided to do white. And then I'm also going to go ahead and just paint the whole thing. That way I'll kind of have a blank surface to go behind my printable, and that'll work out. And I also decided just to go in and paint all the sides too, just to make it look nicer. That MDF exposed wood, I don't really like that very much. So we're just going to go all over it with white. And then the image I designed is just like a blue starry night with this like a skyline of New York City, the Empire State Building, and then we can attach that to the snow globe. Now, I have a funny story about the Elf movie. I just noticed that it's celebrating its 20th anniversary, which makes me feel old to tell the story. But my husband and I were actually in New York City the same day that they were filming Elf at the Empire State Building. And we had just like had like a VIP tour or whatever to the top or whatever. And we were in the Walgreens that was in the Empire State Building, and your girl was from a very small town before I moved to the East Coast. And I come out of Walgreens and I'm like staring up at the skyscrapers, like totally in awe, like freaking out on the road. And then I hear all these like producers and people yell, "Cut!" And we all stop. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And everybody's like, "Oh, they're filming a new Christmas movie. It's going to be called Elf with Will Ferrell." And we were like, "Oh, cool." So every single time I watch this movie, I look for us, even though we're not in there. I've looked a million times, but it's still fun to look for us because I think that's a fun story. My husband and I used to live in Philadelphia when we first got married, and we used to go to New York City all the time. So once I got this Mod Podged on after my story time there, I just Mod Podged it on top, and then to kind of cover this gap area between the globe and the bottom, I just used some Dollar Tree twine, wrapping that around, kind of tying a bow on there, very similar to the twine that the little snow globe sign had on there anyway. And then I'm just going to use a black Sharpie because it's really easy to write with. And I'm just going to put New York City on there instead of like breaking out my Cricut. It's pretty easy just to write that right on there. And I thought this DIY was really fun to make. It definitely goes with our theme of Elf the movie because this was definitely a part of it where he wants to go to New York City to see his dad. I love this movie. You guys know Christmas Vacations are #1 movie, but Elf is a close second. It's pretty good too. I really enjoyed watching it while I was DIYing this, but it probably distracted me a little bit. Now, behind it, I kind of wanted to make look like Central Park, and so I decided to use just a couple Dollar Tree Christmas trees, the little flocked ones for like the fairy garden section or whatever. But I don't think they're going to be tall enough for you to see them behind that snow globe. So I'm just going to use one of these little Jenga blocks from Five Below. And I'm going to paint it white just to kind of disguise it in case you can see it. Probably not necessary, but it will boost the trees up a little bit. And I just wanted a little something behind those on the tier tray. Because I have the snow globe about halfway up, so I can just slide that behind it and pop the little Christmas trees in there behind it. Now, this is a great place in my kitchen. It's kind of like counter space that nobody uses. And I love to put my tier tray here for my kitchen tier tray every year. And you'll be able to see another style of this that I did another year as well. Now, this is just a Santa coffee mug I picked up at Target. Nothing special, but I thought it was cute, and it's going to kind of go with the next DIY that we're going to do. And again, it needs a boost. So this time I use a Dollar Tree wood block because it kind of needed a big boost because we're going to be making a sign to go in front. I love these little signs from the Dollar Tree. These are the easiest signs to DIY for a tier tray that I have found because look, they just pop right apart. I didn't even have to take it apart, like literally. And then I designed this printable as well. It says, "You did it. Congratulations, world's best cup of coffee." And this is one of Buddy's lines from the movie. So I just printed this out to size. And I am going to draw this out with a pencil so I'll know exactly where to cut. And cut this out of cardstock. I always use cardstock whenever I'm Mod Podging signs. It just works so well and it's so easy to use and it holds up so good. So I'm going to do Mod Podge on my sign. I don't really have to cover the words or anything because I'm using the cardstock and put the "You did it, congratulations" sign on there. He was very enthusiastic when he went into that coffee shop in the movie. And then we're going to Mod Podge on top. See what I mean about these signs being easy to DIY? And the frame is white, so it's perfect. I don't have to do anything to that. Once I get it sealed, it's just a matter of popping it back in here. I just put like a very tiny bit of hot glue around the edges. It doesn't need much. And then just pop it back in there and make sure I don't have any hot glue or anything sticking out. Super easy little sign for a Christmas elf themed tier tray. And I'm actually going to sit that in front of that little Santa coffee mug. I thought that would be cute together. I have a little miniature Christmas coffee mug somewhere, but your girl couldn't find it. I don't even have my tree out of the attic yet because I have been so sick. Ugh. Okay, for the next DIY, I'm going to use one of these wood planks from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to cut it down to like 5.5 inches. That's what's going to fit on my bottom tier tray. And I'm going to make a really cute little elf sign. This is another printable that I designed and shared with you in the description below the video. And it's kind of an abstract of Will Ferrell's Buddy the Elf character. And I think it's really cute. It kind of gets the message across that it is an elf tier tray for sure. So I just cut that down to size. And then I'm going to Mod Podge it on just like before. Now, this is just a thin wood plank, but I'm actually going to sit this up against the center pole of my tier tray so it doesn't need a stand or anything. And it's going to be the perfect size. So I just laid that on there and smoothed that out. I tried to bring a little bit of red in with the border. I wanted a lot of green and yellow and red on this bottom tier to kind of represent Buddy the Elf. And I seal it with another coat of Mod Podge. Easy peasy, another quick, easy elf Dollar Tree sign. Isn't that cute? Very abstract. It just has like eyebrows, no face. And I'm going to lean this up against the pole. Now, when I did that, I didn't really like the fact that you couldn't see his face. It's being blocked by one of the snowflakes, so I'm actually going to move that one so you can see him. Now, the next DIY, I wanted to make a Buddy the Elf hat. Now, he has a little feather that sticks out of his hat, so I got some of these little feather stickers from the Dollar Tree. I had some red feathers from the Dollar Tree, but I thought these were smaller, and so I thought it would work better. And I'm going to have to paint it, and I'm going to have to paint both sides because it's going to be kind of a feather sticking out of a hat. You might be able to see it from both directions. And so I'm just going to use some red acrylic. Now I am painting over that like gold metallic paper, so I do have to do more than one coat on the gold side to get good coverage, especially with red. Once I get that all painted, I can flip that over and we can paint the other side as well. I wanted to do that first, so it gave that plenty of time to dry while we make the Buddy the Elf hat. His hat is kind of iconic, but it's also really easy to make. And I'm going to make it with a flexible cutting mat and some felt. So these are the little flexible cutting mats from Dollar Tree. I've used these a lot to make Christmas trees, and it's kind of the same shape as a Christmas tree, so I thought we'd make it work. I don't need it to be as big as a Christmas tree though, so I cut it down a little bit and then I just kind of spiral it onto itself, forming a cone. And then I'm just going to go in and cut off the excess cutting mat. I also took it to my tier tray to make sure that it was the right height, and I think it's going to be perfect. I have a little bit extra material than I need there, so I just kind of trimmed it down a little bit. And then I can actually use that as a stencil for my green felt. So I'm going to like use a Sharpie, kind of outline that on there. Um, plenty on the outside so I can cut on the inside, cut off all the Sharpie, and now we have the felt cut down as well. Now, the reason I'm using the cutting mat is just to give it more structure. You could probably get away with just using felt. This was probably me just being extra, but it did turn out pretty well. So I just hot glue the corner down, forming my cone. And I'm also going to kind of seal the rest of it right there to make sure it's nice and tight. I've used these to make like Christmas trees, Valentine's Day trees. I've used cutting mats to make Christmas trees a lot. It works well for that. So I thought it would be perfect for a little Buddy the Elf. Now, this is the time to put the felt on, so I'm going to kind of wrap that around, just like I did the plastic mat, trying to give it kind of a straight line down the back like that, where I can kind of hide that in the back. So I'm going to kind of glue my corner down first, so that part is kind of hidden, and pull it tight, and then just kind of spiral it around. Then I can put hot glue on the felt and glue it all together. Now, I didn't do a very good job about getting a point on there. There is an opening on the top, and you'll see in a minute. I do go in and kind of fix that because it was kind of pretty much open up there more than I'd like. Now, once I got it all glued in there, I decided to trim it up to make sure that the cutting mat and the felt were all the right length and that it was going to sit nicely on my tier tray. So a little trial and error. And then I decided just to take some more of that felt, I'm going to cut down a little circle and kind of just patch the top just because I didn't really want to leave an open top in my little elf hat. So I just put a little bit of hot glue in there and glue the little patch on the very top. Now I also picked up a piece of yellow felt and that is going to be the little strap that goes around Buddy's hat. So I just kind of estimate how big I want it and just cut a strip out. Um, I am going to have it kind of end right here on my seam on the back. It's going to kind of, be at an angle a little bit to kind of try to pull it tight a little bit. I don't want it super tight though, because I do want to be able to put the little elf hat feather in there that he has. And so I just glue it to that seam on the back, and then I take the little feather. Even though I used the smallest one, it was still a little bit larger than I wanted, so I just trimmed mine down a little bit. And I just kind of popped it in there. I didn't glue it or anything. I just kind of sat it in there in case I wanted to reposition it later. But there it is, our little Buddy the Elf hat. I think this is super cute. We're going to put it right here in front of our little New York City snow globe. And I think that's really sweet. Now for the next find, I actually found this at the Target dollar spot. This was $3, but it has three little cute little winter scene pictures. The ones that I was going for were these two. I ended up only using the one where he's throwing the snowballs because it kind of reminded me of that scene where he's with his brother and he's throwing snowballs. I was going to include both, but then I noticed that the one with the big snowball was a girl. So I decided just to do the one throwing snowballs to represent that scene with his brother. Now, the next DIY, I forgot to record, but all I did was take one of the little shell bottles from the Dollar Tree and empty it out. And then I am just writing syrup. I had to try a couple times to get a good paint job on here, but I'm just using my white paint pen and putting syrup on the front of it. Um, and then I thought we would just fill it up with some real syrup. Why not? It's got a cork on it, so it'll be nice and sealed. But, syrup is one of Buddy the Elf's favorite things. He loves syrup, candy, candy corn, candy canes, right? Those are the four food groups. So it's not going to take much, but I'm just going to put some real syrup in there because why not? I guess you could always tint some brown water if you wanted to. But this is such a small bottle that I thought that worked fine. Once I was happy with the writing and the syrup, I think this is going to be really cute right here in the front. It's a nice small item, so it's not going to block anything, and we can put the syrup right about here. In the snow, of course. New York snowy too. And then Betty also loves to eat candy canes. Those are one of his favorite foods. So I'm also going to kind of fill this area in with some more Dollar Tree candy canes. Now, since I was able to take that one snowflake down, I decided to use the other two and just double stick tape them on each side too, so they dangle down too, like little paper snowflakes. And that's going to finish off the second tier of our tier tray. And this was a really easy theme to do. I think it's super sweet for Christmas. I made this tier tray for my kitchen. Has lots of fun little ideas here. This is like the North Pole area where he's leaving, and the Arctic animals are all saying bye to Buddy. Super cute. And then, of course, he goes to Manhattan. Really fun that my husband and I were there when they were filming this movie. I really wish I've watched this movie 100 times trying to spot us in there, but I haven't spotted us in there. But this represents New York City down here with the snow globe and the city. The cute little elf hat was really easy to put together. And I love like the little paper snowflakes, lots of little fun touches, like the world's best cup of coffee, the little syrup for his spaghetti, and of course, a Santa Claus back there as well. But there it is, our elf DIYs from Elf the Christmas movie on a tier tray. I think it's really fun. Okay, I promised you guys a gingerbread coffee bar, and that is what is up next. I found this great gingerbread bakery sign at the Target dollar spot. This was $5, and I love to hang like signs like this at the top of my coffee bar. And it's not quite big enough to cover the entire top, but I thought maybe I could just use the existing holes in there and I could nail that to the wall. I did mine over to the side like that so I could kind of leave room to do something else on the other side. And that is going to be this DIY. So I picked up a Dollar Tree cookie pan and a Dollar Tree gingerbread man sign. And we're going to make it look like a giant gingerbread cookie baking on a cookie sheet. I thought this was a perfect excuse to use a Dollar Tree cookie sheet. It did have a little hanger on there, so I just go in and fill that in with some spackle, and then we can DIY this. Now, last year I did a gingerbread themed coffee bar too, and I painted the gingerbread man. You totally could do that, but we're going to try a different way today. I tried to pop off the little buttons to make it easier to decorate, but it split the wood, so you might not want to do that. They are really on there. Now, this is how I'm going to make my gingerbread brown. I'm going to stain it with Antique Wax by Waverly. Now, I know that's kind of dark, so I'm going to follow that up with a baby wipe and wipe off most of the stain, and it's going to give me a nice light stain. I like that really cool wood grain that the gingerbread is made out of. So it's not the traditional color of a gingerbread, but it's still brown. And I love the wood grain. I think that's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all over our little gingerbread man. And it just makes him look a little bit more high end, I think. Now for the frosting on his arms and his legs, there's a little pop out band. So I just use a white paint pen and go over that with white. I'm also going to go over his little bow tie and buttons too, just to brighten up the dark stain so that I can go in and paint those a different color. And I noticed this little area that spackled stained pretty dark, so I tried to lighten that up a little bit with some paint just to kind of make that blend in. And then I want this part to look like frosting, so I do go over it with white acrylic to try to make it nice and thick. I draw some little eyes on with a black paint pen, two little round eyes, super easy. And my white paint pen did a little frosting mouth here for our gingerbread man. This is probably the easiest gingerbread man I've ever decorated, but he turned out really cute. The red paint pen was not quite bright enough, so I'm going to go in with a small brush and some bright red acrylic to make a little bright red bow tie for our gingerbread man. And I'm also going to paint the little buttons bright red as well to give him a little bit more color. And then I want these areas to look like frosting, so I want the white acrylic to be nice and thick. And I also use the white acrylic to make his smile nice and bold. I think he's ready to go. What do you guys think about my little gingerbread man? I think he's so cute, and he's the perfect size for the Dollar Tree cookie sheet. I'm going to use some of those foam tape pieces from the Dollar Tree to attach him to the metal. I think that will work better than trying to use hot glue on metal. And so I just peel those all off and stick our little wood gingerbread man on. And this is going to be a great decoration for the top of my coffee bar. It's nice and large, and I can kind of stand it on its side, and it goes with the gingerbread bakery theme perfectly. So I'm just going to reach way up here and put this on the very top of my coffee bar. I have two floating shelves on the wall where I DIY'd my own coffee bar. Now, this is a classic Santa mug that I got at Target. I absolutely love it. And I'm just going to pop in a couple packages of hot cocoa. It's kind of functional. It's going to be on my coffee bar, right? And it totally goes with my Christmas winter vibes. It's going to go great with the gingerbread theme. So I'm going to put that up here too, where it doesn't block our little gingerbread bakery sign. You can still see that. And then I found this prop pack at Target Dollar Spot for only $5. It's got two gingerbread houses, a gingerbread man, faux candy canes, and it's even got like a little directional arrow sign with like little rolling pins instead of arrows. How cute are these? So that's where I kind of got the idea to stain my wood for the gingerbread man instead of painting it, because those gingerbread houses are wood grain and they look so cute. Look how cute these all are. So these are going to be perfect, I think, to decorate my coffee bar. You can also use these to decorate a tier tray. I think that's what they're kind of for. I was so happy to see that they got these in. They got several other things besides gingerbread too, if you're on the lookout. So these are going to be perfect because they're not very tall. So I'm going to like put the little village over here in front of the cookie sheet. That way it doesn't block that image, but it's still going to decorate the shelf in front of it. Put the little gingerbread man in between the little houses and our little directional arrow sign over here. We have like a little village. I'm going to save the candy canes to use for another project today. Now, this is the gingerbread house light up miniature that I was showing you earlier. And we're kind of going with a fun theme over here. So I think this will work. And again, no batteries included, Dollar Tree. So popping in a couple AA batteries so we can light this up. We're going to have a couple items on the coffee bar that light up as well. And this is one of them. Super cute. We're going to put this up on the very top of my coffee bar as well. Right here next to our little Santa mug. Look how pretty it looks all lit up. Okay, the next find is I wanted to do like a little gingerbread man to kind of stand up there next to the little gingerbread house. And I found a really cute one at the Target Dollar Spot. He has a little green bow tie. It's kind of a miniature version of the $3 one. This is the dollar version. And I found two of them. They have different color bow ties. We're going to use both of them, kind of scattering them around the little gingerbread bakery themed coffee bar. But they don't stand on their own like the large ones, but they will if you lean them up against something like the little gingerbread house. Now, I thought our gingerbread house needed a tree too, and I found this wood tree at the Target Dollar Spot. It's very plain. I thought at first I was going to frost it to make it look like gingerbread, but I kind of liked the just plain wood. So we're actually just going to kind of leave it as is because it's going to kind of be a background piece anyway behind our little gingerbread man, gingerbread house combo. Now, I always like to do pennant banners for my coffee bar, so this is no exception. I'm going to be using these little gingerbread man stickers that I picked up at Dollar Tree. They have girl and boy ones. And then I always like to do an odd number, so I'm going to do 3. And then I'm going to use those little faux candy canes that are so cute that were in that Target prop pack. Now, these are stickers, so I thought I would take advantage of that just by peeling the back off and just sticking it to the center of my twine that I measured for my top shelf of my coffee bar. And then just put the paper back on it, and it kind of sandwiches it in there. I didn't even have to glue it. I'm going to do that with my other two, trying to keep them even. I did a boy on each end and a girl in the middle to kind of mix them up a little bit. And then we can fill in the gaps in between with those little candy canes. I thought they'd look best kind of going the same direction like that. So I'm just using a little tiny dot of hot glue and gluing them about halfway in between each one of our little gingerbread men. Now I'm just going to attach these with a dot of hot glue on each end of my shelf. I find that works the best for me. I have my little cordless glue gun, so it's easy to kind of take it about the house with me if I need to use it for something like this, rather than put a nail or something in my shelf. And I glue that to the top, and the very top shelf of our coffee bar is already decorated. I was able to find so many great items today that everything just went so smoothly and quickly. Okay, we have one more shelf on our coffee bar to decorate with gingerbread. And check out this really cute little gingerbread man basket I got at Target Dollar Spot. It was $5 and I thought I need this for my coffee bar. And I thought we would actually make it functional because it's a basket, right? I love to have candy canes on my coffee bar for the holidays. You know, you can just grab one for a quick snack or you can stir your coffee or cocoa with them. Super fun to have a peppermint flavor. So I picked up a package of candy canes at Dollar Tree. And we're just going to pile these all in here. It's just the right size to hold all of them. And that way they'll be nice and accessible on the lower shelf where you can kind of reach them. And they provide decor as well. And I love the little gingerbread shaped basket. I told you Target Dollar Spot has so many gingerbread items this year. I just couldn't believe how many things they have. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to use a little Christmas ornament that I got at the dollar spot at Target. It was only $1 and it looks like a gingerbread house with a candy on the door. So I thought we'd make a little gingerbread house sign, combining this with another little dollar spot sign that I had left over from a couple of years ago. So it was just the right size, so I'm going to use it. I thought painting the back would be a little bit easier. I just wanted a bright red sign, so I'm just going to go over the front and the sides with this red acrylic paint. It's going to provide a nice pop of red and be a really cute background for that little gingerbread house. And I love picking up these ornaments and the gift toppers at the Target Dollar Spot. As you can see, they're so cute, and for $1, you can't go wrong. So I'm just going to attach that to a red sign once it's dry with a little hot glue. And you can't get a DIY much easier than that. It is ready to go. It's the perfect size for my coffee bar. This would also be super cute on a Christmas tier tray. And we're going to stand that right here in front. Next to our little gingerbread basket. And it's kind of the wood grain gingerbread too. Now, I also found these at the Target Dollar Spot for $5, and it's a 2-pack stackable mugs that looks like a gingerbread man. Now, last year I had a gingerbread house mug, and I have no idea what I did with it. I got it at Target. I'm thinking I may have donated it by mistake because I couldn't find it anywhere, but these are a good substitute because how cute are these? And the fact is, you can actually just use them if you want to. So I'm going to stack my little coffee mugs here, perfect for a gingerbread themed coffee bar. And they provide a little pop of decor as well. Aren't they cute? I found so many things this year. Now, this was that Cocoa Cafe light up gingerbread house that we used for inspiration for our little gingerbread house village. This is the one that I got at Target Dollar Spot. It was $5, has batteries, and it lights up beautifully. So I'm going to put this down here at the bottom so I can see it because it's so pretty. Right next to our little coffee mugs. And this is the other $1 plus gingerbread man that I got at the Target Dollar Spot. This one just has a red bow tie instead of a green. So we just pop off the tags and he can stand up on its own just like we did before. I'm going to pair this one with the little gingerbread house DIY that we did. A little girl gingerbread, I guess a gingerbread woman, not a gingerbread man. And then I wanted to kind of fill the wall. I had some areas that didn't really have anything, so I thought we would make a little gingerbread sign. This is one of the 2 packs of wood shells from the Dollar Tree, and it makes a perfect small size sign. I don't really want the holes to be in it though, so I just sand those off and then fill them in with a little Dollar Tree spackle so that we can paint this and make a very cute little lightweight sign that I can hang on my wall to kind of fill up some of the space that doesn't really have anything there on the bottom shelf. So that looks pretty good. Again, I want it to be bright red, nice Christmassy color. So I'm using this bright red acrylic and just going over the front of my wood. And these stain great too. If you want to stain them, you can still see that kind of wood grain coming through. I love using those little shelves to decorate with. Now I picked up this 2-pack of window clings from the Dollar Tree, but you know what? The ones here that are puffy are stickers. They're not window clings at all. And I'm going to use the gingerbread man. I thought he was cute. I kind of want him to be at an angle like he would be on a cookie sheet. So I'm going to kind of put him over here on the side. And then I thought we could also add some more things from the sticker sheet They have candy canes. They have little peppermint candies. I think those would be cute too. So I'm going to do the 2 candy canes over here. I just wanted a bright, simple little gingerbread themed sign and a little candy over here as well. Now I wanted to frame it out somewhat, but I didn't really want to add anything to it, so I'm just going to frame mine out with paint. So I want it to look like frosting. So again, I'm just using white acrylic, and I'm just going to do kind of an imperfect border around, just to kind of give you that look of white frosting on a gingerbread cookie. And then I am just going to hang this sign directly to the wall above some of those shorter items on the bottom shelf of my coffee bar to give it just another little bit of gingerbread decor and definitely a pop of color with that bright red. Now I'm just going to use some of those little foam sticky pieces as well. I think 3 is going to be plenty, and I'm going to stick it to my wallpaper there on the back of my coffee bar. Super easy, super cute. And this is the area here that I thought kind of needed something because the things below it were kind of short. So we're just going to stick that directly to the wall. Now for our next item, I wanted to do a garland for this shelf as well, and I thought that the scarf from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. It looks like something Santa would wear. It's red plush with white pom-poms and jingle bells on the end, and it's just the right size. I'm actually just going to use mine as is, and it couldn't be any easier. I didn't even need to glue it. I'm just going to drape it on my bottom shelf here above my coffee mugs that I hang above my coffee bar. Easy peasy. Now, I thought the back wall there still needed maybe a few more things, so I found this gingerbread man ornament today at Dollar Tree, and it's a picture frame, but I want to make mine an actual gingerbread man. So I'm just going to pop out the plastic and the little picture in there, and then just kind of put this back together. That way it has a brown face background instead of a frame. That way I can just actually make it into like a large headed gingerbread man. He's decorated so cutely with a little candy cane and an ornament. So I'm going to leave all that and then just make a face on him. I start with black paint pen for eyes and then white paint pen for frosting mouth. Now, I liked the frosting mouth. I did have to do a couple layers to get it quite bright enough to stand out against that brown felt, but I didn't really like the eyes. I thought it needed something more 3D. So I'm going to use some Dollar Tree buttons. I'm trying to find 2 black buttons that are about the same size, and I think these will be perfect. And I'm just going to hot glue those over where I drew the little eyes on him. And he's a really whimsical, cute little gingerbread man. Since he's made out of felt, he is nice and light. So I'm just going to use a little tape on the back of him to tape him to the wall and fill in some more of that area there that kind of needed a little bit more decor. I'm going to do this over here above like the little coffee mugs and kind of do him at an angle, just sticking him right up there. So cute. I really love how this is all coming together. I thought I needed a little bit more height on the other side. I decided to boost it up with these Christmas books that I got at Burlington's last year after Christmas for only 99 cents. How cute are these? The only thing I noticed is the wood beads kind of made it where you couldn't read the book, so I'm just going to remove those. It's red and white. It has Christmas messages all over the books, so I don't really have to do anything to it. When I originally bought this, I thought I was going to remake it, but now I'm glad that I didn't. Hot cocoa, Christmas cookies, candy canes, perfect. And I thought we could boost up our little gingerbread man basket to give it a little bit more height over here to kind of fill in the wall area here. And I think this is complete. As you can see, I also took Dollar Tree red mugs and I put all of our family's names on them in the Ray Dunn font using my Cricut. And those are hanging below the coffee bar. So now that our gingerbread coffee bar is complete, let me give you a little tour around. You can see all the fun details. I think it turned out really fun. It was really easy to put together since Dollar Spot has so many great gingerbread things. But as you can see, you can still make Dollar Tree DIYs because Dollar Tree has a lot of gingerbread things too. But a lot of times you do have to DIY them. And there you get a little better look of our Dollar Tree mugs. I did those a couple of years ago for Christmas, and they're kind of like stockings with our names on them. And I use them every year. I love them for Christmas. So cute. I love how everything came together and all the little fun touches for Christmas. And I told you that gingerbread men have like taken over my kitchen, and they really have, because now I have gingerbread everywhere. And I've done the gingerbread theme for a coffee bar twice on my channel. You may have seen the other one. This is a totally different variation. I really hope you enjoyed all of the Christmas DIY ideas today. I had so much fun putting this video together. Let me know which DIY was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. And you can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. And this is my QR code if you would like to buy me a coffee. Thank you and enjoy the final reveal.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's crafting marathon. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Red Mama, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you would also like to become a Crafty Beach member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your phone or your computer, and you're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. Now, would you like even more Christmas crafting inspiration? Be sure to check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Christmas.